Now, segueing beautifully into my next segment, I caught up with a good friend of mine. Her name's Kayla Gaspar, and she took the time graciously to talk to me and you, whoever decides to listen courteously, about her disability. Now, I won't go into too much more detail, and I hope you enjoy. All right, I'm here with my good friend Kayla Gaspar, who's here to talk to us briefly about her experiences with physical disability. So, what disability would that be?
It's kind of hard to pinpoint what it is, but the cause was meningococcal meningitis, which is a bacterial infection that can cause like paralysis and limb loss and brain damage and a whole bunch of different stuff, deafness too. But for me, it slowed my growth plates and caused them to stop early, which has made me have a whole bunch of muscle and joint problems and has made me look different than the average person. So different
for all those who can't see, obviously, you're shorter than the average person.
I am.
So can you describe your daily life in terms of any sort of struggles you may have with some tasks that people take for granted?
I'd say for me, it's just the walking and the standing. Like, even for me to walk down the hall or even just like walking to class or the hall, like literally anything, it causes me some pain and discomfort, which sucks. And I feel like a lot of the time people take for granted that they can just go for a walk down the hall and be fine and not feel any pain.
Yeah.
But I don't really have that.
Obviously. So is it extreme pain over a long time, or is it?
It depends. Like if it's just a short period of time, it's more discomfort than pain. But if it's like even like 20 minutes, that's really long for me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you had this then? Been living with, these challenges and this diagnosis?
That's hard to pinpoint too, because as an infant, that's when I got meningitis. And then the problems kind of started when my growth plates closed. Like growing up, I was okay. And then when they closed, that's when the problems started, because the rest of me kept growing, but my legs didn't. So maybe
so your upper half is proportional to what it would be for a normal 18, 19-year-old, and your lower half just stopped completely.
Yeah, my lower half, like my legs are literally shorter than my arms.
Right.
So like they're very short. Yeah.
Speaking of the challenges, then, what's the craziest or most frustrating, just out there experience you've had in your life that you could pinpoint? I know that's a huge question.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people have experienced a lot worse, but for me, it would be people like taking pictures of me. Like people will sometimes so obviously record or take pictures, and it's honestly really dehumanizing. And I don't know if they have dehumanized me themselves and that's why they feel it's okay, or if it just feels like that to me. But yeah, that's probably the worst, because no one wants their picture taken, even if they don't have a disability.
And you obviously notice this, right?
Yeah, and it's obviously like degrading me. Like it's not people taking a picture of me because I'm like so awesome. Like it's people taking a picture of me to be like mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so you're facing these challenges and you've dealt with them for a long time. When you first started facing them, was it difficult for you, or did you just learn to embrace them because you didn't know any different?
I'd say that it was kind of not like that for me, because I grew up kind of normal. When all this started happening, when I hit puberty and like I started like growing, it was a change for me, because all of a sudden people would stare at me and I'd be like, why? Because at first I didn't even realize. Like I was like, what's different? So it was like kind of new to me.
I never actually thought about that, where you wouldn't notice until someone pointed it out to you, because obviously from what you said, you were raised in such a normal environment. I'm assuming that means family-wise, right?
Yeah.
Where you're treated as an equal in that setting, and then unless you're told out in public that you have something different about you,
Yeah.
you're not going to notice.
As a child, you're not really focused on
For
your looks
sure,
anyway.
right.
So it's like not something you really
realize.
realize.
It's not something you're
because someone
conscious
tells
of
you.
until, you said around puberty
Yeah.
time, around your teen years.
Yeah.
One final question then. Actually, two final questions because I can't count properly. The first one being, what's been your biggest support, or I guess multiple supports if you have them, helping you to not fight through but stay sane as you've taken on this disability?
I'd say my main supports would be my friends and family. Like,
that's great.
Being
that's
there
awesome.
for me to vent. Yeah, I'm so lucky to have such a nice family and like a supportive family, but they're always there for me to vent. And even physically too, like if I'm having a bad day, like my mom would drive me to the bus stop or like let me stay home from school.
Right.
Like they're really supportive that way. And I'm really lucky to have that.
That's good. To wrap up then, my final question for you would be, what's one piece of advice you would give to people with a similar physical disability?
I would say there's like two types, I could say, like emotional and physical. I'd say emotionally, you need to not let your
it's on the air, so
disability define you. Because I feel like in society, people are going to do that anyway, and you can't control it. But you can't do that to yourself. And you can't live in a box because of your disability. You just gotta forget about it and just do your thing and not worry about anyone else. But physically, I'd say just ask for help when you need it. Because for me, it's kind of hard sometimes because I'm embarrassed to ask for help, or I don't want people to think that I can't do it myself. So I'll try to avoid asking for help. But then I'm stuck because I need help. And then I'm in pain and I'm like, crap, this is not so good.
It would be difficult to manage in a situation like that for sure.
Yeah, so I'd say ask for help when you need it. Don't be embarrassed by it and don't let it define you.
That's awesome. Kayla Gaspar, everybody. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to do this. I really appreciate it. Craving even more disability content? Links to the full podcast episode and other great clips are only a tap or click away, just waiting for you in the description.